معلوم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. مسألة: ما لبس على الرأس من عمامة أو خمار أجزأ المسح عليه. Uh, this issue 201. Whatever you wear on your head from عمامة, turban أو خمار. خمار يعني anything which you cover, like the woman used to wear, like veil, anything cover the head, we call it خمار. خمار. أجزاء المسح عليه. It is sufficient to wipe on it on wudu instead of washing the head, wiping the head itself. مسألة: وكل ما لبس على الرأس من عمامة أو خمار أو قلنسوة أو بيضة أو مغفر أو غير ذلك أجزأ المسح عليه. Whatever you wear on your head from turban or veil or قلنسوة like a hat or cap, أو بيضة, this is like iron thing which the warriors used to wear on the war, like helmet. أو مغفر, this is something as well used to be worn in the wars. This is from iron, like a helmet, but this is consists of small rings of iron. أو غير ذلك, or other than this. نقل. أو مغفر يعني like chain mail. أو غير ذلك, or other than this. أجزاء المسح عليها. It is sufficient to wipe on it. المرأة والرجل سواء. Woman and the man are equal in this. في ذلك. لعلة أو غير علة, because of illness or not. يعني if someone has a disease or has an illness, is sick, so he can wipe on it, or even he is not sick, he can wipe on it as well. Why he said that? Because when he say these things, he means that some scholars specify the wiping on these things for the sick one, just if someone is ill, okay, or sick, he can wipe on it. So he added these things to show that wiping on this thing is okay for the sick one and for the sound one. برهان ذلك حديث المغيرة, the proof of that Hadith المغيرة. And he mentioned the chain of narrators. عن عمرو بن أمية الضمري أنه رأى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يمسح على الخفين والعمامة. عمرو بن أمية الضمري, he saw Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم wiping on his leather socks and his turban. ورويناه من طريق البخاري أيضا من طريق البخاري عن جعفر بن عمرو بن أمية الضمري عن أبيه. يعني he mentioned another way for this hadith. قال وهذا قوة للخبر. This is strengthening this خبر, this narration. لأن أبا سلمة سمعه من عمرو بن أمية الضمري, سماعا. Because Abu Salama heard it from Amr ibn Umayyah, وسمعه أيضا من جعفر ابنه, and he heard it, the same hadith, from his son, the son of Amr ibn Umayyah, who was called Ja'far. كما فعل بكر بن عبد الله بن المزني الذي سمع حديث المغيرة من حمزة ابن المغيرة, وسمعه أيضا من الحسن عن حمزة. Like Abdullah al-Muzani, he will mention Hadith al-Mughira here, inshallah, that he who heard Hadith al-Mughira, maybe he mentioned it before. Hadith al-Mughira that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam مسح على الخفين والعمامة. مسح رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على الخفين والعمامة. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wiped on his leather socks and the turban. فهذا الحديث بكر بن عبد الله بن المزني سمع حديث المغيرة من حمزة. He heard the hadith, this hadith from حمزة ابن المغيرة, وسمعه أيضا من الحسن عن حمزة, and he heard it from الحسن عن حمزة. And he mentioned another hadith here عن كعب ابن عجرة عن بلال. حديث بلال هذا أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مسح على الخفين والخمار. That Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم wiped on his leather socks and on the veil. Khimar here means something يعني like cover anything which is covering the head. We call it khimar. So Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم was wearing something that covered his head, so he wiped on it. وأيضا أنه عن بلال أنه عليه السلام مسح على العمامة والموقين. That Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم wiped on his عمامة turban and موقين, يعني الموقين هم الخفين leather socks. وروينا أيضا من طريق أيوب السختياني عن أبي قلابة عن سلمان, ومن طريق مخلد بن الحسين عن هشام بن حسان عن حميد بن هلال عن عبد الله بن الصامت عن أبي ذر رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم توضأ ومسح على الموقين والخمار. I saw Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم doing wudu, and he wiped on his leather socks and khimar. فهؤلاء ستة من الصحابة رضي الله عنهم. So there are 6 from the companions of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم, هم المغيرة بن شعبة وبلال وسلمان وعمرو بن أمية الضمري وكعب بن عجرة وأبو ذر, كلهم يروي ذلك عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بأسانيد. All of them narrated that about Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم بأسانيد لا معارض لها. With a chain of narrators, there is nothing contradict it, ولا مطعن فيها, and there is no accusation in it. وبهذا القول يقول جمهور الصحابة والتابعين, and by this opinion the majority of Sahaba and Tabi companions and the followers saying this opinion. كما روينا قال رأيت أبا بكر الصديق يمسح على الحمار. I saw Abu Bakr رضي الله عنه wiping on the veil. وأيضا عمر قال سأل نبات الجعفي. Someone called نبات الجعفي asked عمر بن الخطاب عن المسح على العمامة, about wiping on the turban. فقال له عمر بن الخطاب إن شئت فامسح على العمامة وإن شئت فدع. If you wish you can wipe on the turban, and if you wish you can leave it. وأيضا هنا عن زيد بن أسلم قال قال عمر من لم يطهره من لم يطهره المسح على العمامة فلا طهره الله. Whoever thinks that the wiping on the turban is not sufficient for taharah, for purification, so may Allah does not purify him ever. وعن حماد بن سلمة عن ثابت عن أنس بن مالك أنه كان يمسح على الجوربين والخفين والعمام. Anas ibn Malik used to wipe on his socks and on his leather socks and on the turban. وهذه أساليب في غاية الصحة. And this chain of narrators are in the maximum of soundness or in authenticity. وعن الحسن البصري عن أمه حسن البصري narrated this hadith from his mother أن أم سلمة أم المؤمنين كانت تمسح على الخمار. That سلمة used to wipe on her veil. وعن سلمان الفارسي أنه قال لرجل امسح على خفيك وعلى خمارك وامسح بنصيك. Salman said to a man, wipe on your leather socks and on your veil and on your forelock. وعن أبي موسى الأشعري أنه خرج من حدث فمسح على خفيه وقال بسوة. From Abu Musa رضي الله عنه أنه خرج من حدث. He get out from his حدث. He means he did wudu. فمسح على خفيه وقال بسوة. And he wiped on his leather socks and on his hat. وعن أبي أمامة الباهلي أنه كان يمسح على الجوربين والخفين والعمام. Abu Umama used to wipe on his socks and leather socks and turban. وعن علي بن أبي طالب أنه سئل عن المسح على الخفين. علي بن أبي طالب was asked about wiping on the خفين, the leather socks. فقال نعم. He said yes. وعلى النعلين, and even on the shoes. والخمار, and on the veil. Or they differ between the main difference between the socks, خفين, and نعلين. Okay, that the socks is above the ankle. يعني it likes boots. Okay, so any khuf has to be above the ankle. So it is from leather. Okay, but above the ankle. But the na'al, it is underneath the ankle. So it is from leather as well, but underneath the ankle. The other difference here that the khuffain and na'lain has something يعني strong or something solid in the يعني in which protect the sole of the feet from the land, from the things which is on the land. And this is something like it is banded from the place which faces the sole of the feet. But khuf is not like this. Khuf is not like this. Khuf, it is all of it is leather thing, like a socks. All of it is leather, and there is nothing strong underneath the feet in it. So this is main two differences between khuf and na'lain. Okay? And the na'lain could be all of it is leather, and it covers all of the feet, and it could be like sandals. Okay, so we call sandals as well na'lain. Okay, why? Because sandals does not cover the the upper part of it does not cover more than the ankle from the leg, and it has something strong underneath you can depend upon. So na'lain could be sandals and could be any kind of shoes which is under it does not we do not consider boots this as an na'lain. Okay, so it is just normal shoes which is underneath the heels, the ankles of the person. So this is the difference between khuf and na'al. So when he was asked about khuf, he said yes, you can wipe on the khuf and as well as you can wipe on your shoes and your khimar. قول سفيان الثوري, and this is the saying of سفيان الثوري, رويناه عن عبد الرزاق عنه قال القلنسوة بمنزلة العمامة. عبد الرزاق said hat is like عمامة, is like a turban. يعني في جواز المسح عليها, he means in the permission of doing of wiping it. وهو قول الأوزاعي وأحمد بن حنبل وإسحاق بن راهويه وأبي ثور وداود بن علي وغيرهم. وقال الشافعي إن صح الخبر عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فبه أقول. Shafi'i said if this khabar, which that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم wiped on his turban, if this khabar is sahih, if this narration is sound, فبه أقول, so I will say according to it. قال علي والخبر قال ابن حزم والخبر ولله الحمد قد صح فهو قوله. So al-khabar, this narration, alhamdulillah, is sahih, is sound. So it is his opinion as well. قوله وقال أبو حنيفة ومالك لا يمسح على عمامة ولا خمار ولا غير ذلك. وهو قول الشافعي قال إلا أن يصح الخبر. Abu Hanifa and Malik said it is not sufficient to wipe on imama, on the turban or on the veil, ولا غير ذلك, or nor or on anything other than this. And this is وهو قول الشافعي, this is the saying of Shafi'i. But he said إلا أن يصح الخبر. Shafi'i said, but if, except if this khabar, this narration is sound. So he did not know uh, if this narration is sound or not. So he said, if this narration is sound, my saying or my opinion is like it. If it is not sound, so it is not sufficient to wipe on khimar, on turban, or anything is worn on the head. قال عليه ما نعلم للمانعين من ذلك حجة أصلا. We don't know for the people who uh, prohibited this or forbade this, we don't know any evidence for them. فإن قالوا جاء القرآن بمسح الرؤوس قلنا نعم وبالمسح على الرجلين فأجزتم المسح على الخفين وليس بأثبت من المسح على العمامة. طيب قالوا if they say قال جاء القرآن بمسح الرؤوس, if they say the Quran came just with wiping the head. قلنا نعم, and we say yes. And the Quran, وبالمسح على الرجلين, and the Quran came with wiping on the feet. فأجزتم المسح على الخفين, and so you say that the wiping on the leather socks is okay, is sufficient. وليس بأثبت من المسح على العمامة, and wiping on the leather socks, it is not more authentic, يعني it's the narrations about it, it is not more authentic than the narration which is talking about wiping on the turban. والمانعون من المسح على الخفين من الصحابة رضي الله عنهم أكثر من المانعين من المسح على العمامة. And the people from Sahaba who said that the wiping on the leather socks is forbidden is more than the people from Sahaba who said the wiping on the turban is forbidden. فما روي المنع من المسح على العمامة إلا عن جابر وابن عمر. So there is no narration which forbade to wipe on the turban except narration from Jabir and one narration from Ibn Umar. وقد جاء المنع من المسح على الخفين عن عائشة وأبي هريرة وابن عباس, and the forbidden wiping on leather socks, it came from Aisha, and this is the opinion of Aisha and Abi Huraira وابن Abbas. Okay? وأبطلتم مسح الرجلين ونص القرآن بخبر يدعي مخالفنا ومخالفكم أننا سامحنا أنفسنا وسامحتم أنفسكم فيه, وأنه لا يدل على المنع من مسحها, وقد قال بمسحها طائفة من الصحابة والتابعين ومن بعدهم. Right. He said, you أبطلتم مسح الرجلين. We said the Quran came with wiping on the leg. وأبطلتم مسح, and you nullified this حكم. أبطلتم مسح الرجلين. Okay? وهو نص القرآن, and it is the text of the Quran. بخبر, by using a narration, يدعي مخالفنا ومخالفكم أننا سامحنا أنفسنا وسامحتم أنفسكم فيه. يعني with a narration, the one who differ us, yeah, the one who differ us and say that the wiping on the feet is allowed, okay? This man, these people who said that the wiping on the feet is sufficient and we don't have to wash all of the leg, okay? يدعي and differ us in this issue, okay? He said that we tolerated ourselves to depend upon this narration. Even this narration is not clear that the wiping on the leg is not sufficient, because we said before that for the narration which the majority of the scholars depend upon, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw some of his companions wiping on their feet, and he shouted 3 times, وَيْلٌ لِلْأَعْقَابِ مِنَ النَّارِ, woe for the heels from the hellfire. So the majority of the scholars said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam meant by this that we have to encompass all of the all the parts of the legs with the water. So we have to wash it. And the other said, no, this hadith is not clear. Okay, this is what he means here. and you tolerated yourselves in depending upon this hadith, but this hadith is not clear. But what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, just said, وَيْلٌ لِلْأَعْقَابِ مِنَ النَّارِ, woe for the heels from the hellfire. So we have to wash the heels, or wipe the heels with our legs. And he did not say you have to wash all of your legs. This is what Ibn Hazm mentioned, means by this. وأنه, and they said, the people who differ us, لا يدل على المنع من مسحها. They said this narration does not indicate that it's wiping the leg is forbidden. وقد قال بمسحها طائفة من الصحابة والتابعين ومن بعدهم. And from the people who said that wiping the leg is sufficient, طائفة من الصحابة, group of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, والتابعين, and tabi'in means the followers, ومن بعدهم, and the people who came after them. وقلتم بالمسح على الجبائر ولم يصح فيه أثر عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهذا تقليد. And you say that we should wipe on the bandages. Al-Jabair, if someone has a bandage or a broken arm or something, if he wrap this thing with any kind of clothes, they call it jabair, bandages. Okay, so the majority of the scholars said if you have a broken arm and if you have a bandage on any uh, your limbs of wudu, you have to wipe it. Okay, if you want to do wudu and you cannot make the water reach your limb. Okay, can you stop 1 second? وقلتم بالمسح على الجبائر ولم يصح فيه أثر عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Ibn Hazm is talking with the majority of the scholars, so they said you have to wipe on the bandage if you cannot to make the water reach your limbs. ولم يصح فيه أثر عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. As we said, there is no sound hadith about this issue. وهذا تقليد, and now this is mixing the things up. قال بعضهم حديث المغيرة بن شعبة فيه أنه مسح بناصيته وعلى عمامته. They said the hadith المغيرة said that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم wiped on his forelock and on his turban. فأما من لا يرى المسح على الناصية يجزئ فقد جاهر الله تعالى والناس في احتجاجه بهذا الخبر وهو عاص بكل ما فيه. So as for the one who said who in his opinion that wiping on the forelock is sufficient. Some people said the wiping on the forelock is not sufficient. Okay, some scholars said that. So Ibn Hazm said فقد جاهر الله تعالى والناس في احتجاجه بهذا الخبر. Now he announced his disobedience, okay, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the people when he depended upon this narration. Why? Because this narration is mentioned clearly that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wiped on his forelock, and he says wiping on the forelock is not sufficient. Okay? وهو عاص بكل ما فيه, and he disobeyed all or, or whatever in this hadith. وأما من يرى المسح على بعض الرأس يجزئ, and as for the scholars who say that wiping on some of the head is sufficient, فإنهم قالوا إن الذي أجزأه عليه السلام, they said, the thing which make the wudu of his wudu sallallahu alayhi wasallam sufficient, ما هو مسح الناصية فقط, the wiping on the forelock, just on his forelock. وكان مسح العمامة فضلا, and the wiping on the turban is something extra. يعني what do what does he mean here? He means the Hujjah of Ibn Hazm and the other scholar that Mas'a al-Imama is sufficient. He said they depended one of their hadith, they depended upon this hadith. And the people who said the Mas'a al-Imama is not sufficient, they said there is no evidence in this hadith that Mas'a al-Imama, wiping on the turban, is sufficient. Why? Because this hadith mentioned two things. Mas'a binasiyati wa al-Imama. He wiped on his forelock and on the turban. So wiping on the forelock made his wudu sufficient, and when he and wiping on the turban, it is something extra. So we cannot just wipe on the turban and say that our wudu is sufficient. We have to wipe uh, with uh, with it on any part of the head. قال أبو محمد رام هؤلاء أن يجعلوا كل ما في خبر المغيرة حكاية عن وضوء واحد، وهذا كذب وجرأة على الباطل، بل هو خبر عن عملين متغايرين. هذا ظاهر الحديث ومقتضاه. وكيف وقد رواه جماعة غير المغيرة. تمام. فلم يذكروا فيه المسح على العمامة. تمام. طيب هو الآن يوجد حديثين، حديث المغيرة، حديثين رواهما المغيرة. الحديث الأول, there are two hadiths المغيرة narrated about Rasulullah. The first one is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam مسح على الخفين والعمامة, that he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wiped on his two leather socks and on his turban. This is hadith. Another one, that he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam مسح على الخفين وعلى ناصيته وعلى العمامة, that he saw Rasulullah wiped on his leather socks and on his forelock and on his turban. So they said, Ibn Hazm said, رام هؤلاء أن يجعلوا كل ما في خبر المغيرة حكاية عن وضوء واحد. And these people wanted to make all of this narration which was mentioned about, which were mentioned about Mughira, this is like about one wudu, about just one wudu. وهذا كذب, and he said this is lies, because وجرأة على الباطل, and daring to say falsehood. بل هو خبر عن عملين متغايرين, but this is a narration about two different actions, two different wudu, متغايرين. وهذا ظاهر الحديث ومقتضاه. This is the appearance of hadith and what it requires. وكيف وقد رواه جماعة غير المغيرة. And how can you say this? And some other people narrated this hadith and they did not mention in the forelock other than Al-Mughira. يعني mentioned the hadith of Bilal and Amr ibn Umayyah al-Damri and all of these people narrated a hadith that Rasulullah just wiped on his turban and on his leather socks. And they did not mention a forelock. Okay? Right. One of these hadiths which just mentioned the forelock and the which mentioned the imamah, just لما مسح على الخفين والعمامة هو حديث عمرو بن أمية الضمري. هذا حديث عمرو بن أمية الضمري. تمام. So what did they say about this hadith? The people who said that مسح على العمامة is not sufficient, wiping on the normal the turban is not sufficient. قال بعضهم أخطأ الأوزاعي. الأوزاعي is trustworthy person and he was one of the scholars. He was the biggest scholar of in Sham in his era. Okay, they said أخطأ. They said he made a mistake. في حديث عمرو بن أمية. In his hadith about Amr ibn Umayyah, which mentioned that Rasulullah ﷺ just wiped on his turban and was not mentioned that he wiped on his forelock. They said Al-Awza'i made a mistake in this hadith. Why? Why they said that? قالوا لأن هذا خبر رواه عن يحيى بن أبي كثير شيبان. يعني شيبان, this one narrated this hadith from يحيى بن أبي كثير وحرب بن شداد and this another man وبكر بن نضر وأبان بن العطار وعلي بن المبارك فلم يذكروا فيه المسح على العمامة. Because this hadith was narrated by all of these people as well, but they did not mention in their narration that Rasulullah ﷺ wiped on his turban. قال علي فقلنا لهم فكان ماذا؟ علي ibn Hazm said to them, so what? قد علم كل ذي علم بالحديث. Anyone who has a knowledge about hadith knew أن الأوزاعي أحفظ من كل واحد من هؤلاء. That the Awza'i has a good يعني better memorization than all of these people uh, يعني you mentioned. وهو حجة عليهم and الأوزاعي is حجة against them وليسوا حجة عليه and all of them are not حجة and evidence against him. He means that Al-Awza'i is more accurate uh, uh, than them and has a better memorization than them and he was Imam as well يعني he was يعني إمام في الفقه يعني big scholar in fiqh. والأوزاعي ثقة. Awza'i is the ثقة trustworthy person. وزيادة الثقة لا يحل ردها and the extra information of the ثقة of the trustworthy person it is not permitted to reject it. طيب. وما الفرق بينكم وبين من قال في كل خبر احتججتم به أن راويه أخطأ فيه لأن فلانا وفلانا لم يروي هذا الخبر. So what is the difference between what you said and what if someone من قال في كل خبر احتججتم به if someone say about every narration you depended upon as an evidence If someone say that all of your narrations is wrong and the narrator نراويه أخطأ فيه, the narrators of this narrations made a mistake. Why? Why? When you ask him why, you say that he say لأن فلانا وفلانا لم يروا هذا الخبر, because so and so did not narrate this narration. So according to your rule, if if anyone narrated a narration about Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and another one does not narrate it, so we have to reject all of the narration which is narrated about Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because and say that those narrator made a mistake because the other narrators did not narrate the same hadith. So this will lead you to reject all of the narrations of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it is the same issue here. If you reject the hadith because one of the trustworthy person add something, because you say that he made a mistake because another narrator did not mention this thing, so you have to reject all of the narrations of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam because the other narrators did not say the same thing about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what he's trying to say.